This week on Two Cups, One Kettle, we are going to be talking about some of my favorite words. So grab yourself a cup and let's get into it. As you can probably tell, I'm alone this week. So I'll tell you what I'm drinking and let me know what you're drinking in the comments below. I am going to be drinking a lemon limeade Spindrift. Uh, this week, Elena is still unable to make it, and I did not plan out well enough to get myself a guest. So I will be speaking by myself. So let's hope that this can go all right. Anyways, so I love words. I've always loved words. I have a dictionary that I showed last episode that I got in elementary school. And as you can tell, the pages are falling out, it is well loved. The spine is very broken in multiple places. It's just, it's been a very well loved book because I love words. And this year I got a new one. And this is my beautiful new dictionary, Merriam-Webster. And right now, this is one of my top favorite words at the moment. And I love words so much that I thought I would go over the list that I keep on my phone in my notes app of some of my absolute favorite words of all time. And then maybe we'll see what random ones come up and we can talk a little bit about why I love some of these words so much. And if there's any words that you like in particular, you can put them down in the comments or not. You're not obligated to. Not everyone loves words as much as I. And we can see if there's any fun ones that I didn't include. So we're going to start with my note app. And the title of this is Words That I Love How They Feel on My Tongue because one of my favorite things about words, outside of how they convey meaning and how you can use them to express yourself and communicate with people, is legitimately how they feel coming out of your mouth, the way that your mouth forms around them. And just, it's extremely fascinating to me that we can use our vocal cords and our tongues and our throats and our mouths to create sounds, and not only create sounds, but formulate them in such a way that we can communicate complex thoughts and thinking processes to other people. And to a certain extent, even if you might not understand their language, you can use words that someone doesn't understand to convey something without even having to know what the word itself means, which I think is just such an amazing part of the human experience is that we get to communicate in that way. And I think it is such a interesting thing that God included in human existence is that we get to communicate in general and especially vocally because I mean, we're one of the few creatures on the entire planet who can even create the sounds that we do. It is impossible for most of the planet to even formulate the sounds that we do. And so this is a very fun and interesting topic for me, and most people wouldn't agree. So I thought it would be a perfect time for me to have an episode where I just talk by myself. And we'll start at the very, very top because I started keeping this list back in middle school. And so some of them are a little bit dumb, I'll admit that, but I still like how they feel coming out of my mouth. The first one I have is iridescent. And in my notes app, I have it meaning having or exhibiting iridescence, which doesn't particularly explain things very well, but that is okay. And if I say my ABCs a little bit, I apologize. There's a lot of letters in the alphabet, 26, and sometimes I forget which order they're in when I'm trying to find something. Ah, right here. Iridescence. It is a rainbow play of colors. So I am also an artist. I paint a lot. I have a couple of my own paintings in my room. I give paintings to people as gifts. I love it as a way of expressing myself. And so I love, love, love colors. And I love color theory. Well, I hate it. I love hate it. Um, but iridescent, I like the way it feels on my mouth when you say it. Iridescent. It bites. But I also love the meaning of it because it's expressing such a wide range of colors. And when I picture something iridescent, not only is it a rainbow, a variety of colors, it's also shimmery and sparkly. And there's actually quite a few words on this list that have similar, not meanings per se, but they all are somewhat interconnected. And I love that. I I love colors. And so we're going to move on to the next one, which is infinite, which most people know what infinite means. It means it's subject to no limitation or external determination. And for me, infinite isn't so much about how it feels to say it, but the meaning of the word itself. It's so vast and it's literally never ending. And I find that beautiful. And it makes me think of space. And I love astronomy. I wanted to be an astronomer when I was little. It didn't work out that way, but I love the idea of something having no limitation and just going on forever. And I know that space does have a limit. There is an end of the universe, but to get there would take so long, it would feel infinite and limitless, and it's ever growing and changing. And things explode and then create and form and fall apart. And I find that so beautiful. Then the next word I have is effervescent. And effervescent is one of those words I love to say it. It just, it makes me feel beautiful to say it because it's just such a gorgeous word in and of itself. It means marked by or expressing an appealing living quality. It's just something that is so incomprehendibly beautiful and gorgeous. And you've probably noticed a theme by now. A lot of them have to do with how I view the world and the beauty that I see in it. And some of the words that I like to use to express how I view the world. Um, Another one, I love words that end with ENT. I love saying ent at the end of words because one of my other words is resplendent. And resplendent means that something is shining brightly or is characterized by a glowing splendor. Also, splendor, another phenomenal word. It means a great brightness or luster. And luster, another one, this is just domino affecting right here, means a gentle sheen or a soft glow. And all of those words to me, they just mean they characterize something so beautiful. And the words in and of themselves are beautiful and they express this beauty. And it's just I love them. I love them so much. I love words. My dictionary is already its binding is starting to go a little bit to where I can now open this very easily. Um, but let's move on to some words that aren't, well, a word that isn't as beautiful in its meaning, but I love how to say it. I love how to say it. I love the word agony. All I can think about is uh what is it? Into the Woods. I think that was the name of it. It's a musical, also a movie with and there's a song in it where two guys are singing about their love lives. Also, they're both very, very bad men. They're awful people. But they sing the song and literally it goes, agony. And I love that song because I love the word agony. It means the struggle that precedes death. And I mean, we all live in agony. There's always going to be a struggle that precedes death that is literally life. Life is a struggle that precedes death. And so I find that beautiful. And although it's not the most glorious to think about, it is a beautiful word as well as abysmal. I love saying that something is abysmal. Not that it's bad or that it's wrong. That was abysmal. I love that. It just brings me a lot of joy to be like, you are an abysmal person, which abysmal means immeasurably low or wretched. So if you're getting called abysmal, that is pretty darn bad. Just saying. You don't want to be called that. On that vein, this single little tabby on in my dictionary comes to a word that I have grown to love. Love the last few months. And I've actually started to call people this. It's called reprobate. And reprobate means a person who is foreordained to damnation, otherwise known as a thoroughly bad person or a scoundrel. You could call someone mean or ugly, or you could call them a reprobate or scoundrel. Scoundrel's fun too. Scoundrel, though, has a certain pizzazz and sass to it that I don't want to give them the privilege of because I don't think that. I think they're reprobates. And I also call my little brothers reprobates. Reprobates. I call them reprobates. So it's on the same spectrum to me as poopy pants, but I love calling people reprobates. It's just so fun. And most of the time, most people don't know what the word reprobate means. So when you call them that, they kind of sit there looking at you a little dumb. And not only did you just call them something mean, they didn't understand it. And that brings me joy. One way that I can stand up for myself is being smarter. And I thoroughly enjoy that. Another word I love is incessantly. And incessantly means without interruption or relief. So when you were a kid and you would go up to your mom and you would continually tug on her dress so that she would pay attention to you because you needed attention right then and right now, you were incessantly annoying your mother. Or when you continually talk to someone when they clearly want you to stop and leave and they're giving you the please stop talking to me eyes, I don't know how to leave this conversation, you are being incessant. And let them leave, please. As someone who sometimes struggles to end a conversation, I have the eyes. I have the please let me go eyes. I'm begging. Another word I love is profound. And profound means all encompassing. And this is another one of those words that I like to say it, but I also love the meaning of. Because, I mean, it's profound. That is the word in and of itself. And it just is such a vast word. I mean, it's all encompassing. It covers everything. It means something is so big that it just covers everything and it's hard to understand. And it's just a difficult concept to grasp a lot of the times. And it's just so mind boggling that you can't wrap your brain around it. But at the same time, I find that beautiful because you never know everything. And I kind of like that. I like that I get to learn forever. I like that. Another word I like is Caravaggio. And Caravaggio was a Renaissance painter. And I love his paintings, but I also love his name, Caravaggio. It's like Caravaggio. I just love that. I love that a lot. I love irrevocably Mr. Darcy, if you know. I love Mr. Darcy. But irrevocably is just, it's another wonderful word. I love saying it. Another word I love is singulomania. That will not be in my dictionary. That is a strong desire to hold a person in your arms, which I feel frequently. My main love language is physical touch. I love holding hands, touching someone on the shoulder, touching a pinky, even. I mean, giving hugs. I love physical touch. It's a way for me to connect with someone And sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed and then not be able to express yourself verbally. And I find that it's sometimes easier and a more profound way of expressing oneself in the simplicity of holding someone's hand. I feel like I can convey much more by holding someone's hand or giving them a hug or putting my arm around their shoulder than I could necessarily use words for. It brings much more comfort, and I love to comfort people. I love to be people's safe space and to be someone that they can come and talk to and or not talk to. We don't have to talk. If you don't want to talk, that's not a requirement. I'm not going to force anyone to talk. I figure if someone wants to talk to me and tell me about something, they will tell me. I don't feel the need to pry or prod, but I do feel a need to be there. And I find that touching someone is the best way to do that and to convey my love and affection for them and my concern and desire to help rather than being douchey and saying a whole bunch of fancy words to try and get my point across. I just find that very poncy. I don't like it. I also love the word perfidious, which means a tendency to betray, deceitful, or untrustworthy, which is a quality that a reprobate would have. We don't like those reprobates. If you ever don't like someone, just go up to them, call them a reprobate, and just watch the dumbfounded look because they don't know what that word means. Most people don't use that in their everyday language. It is not in their vocabulary. Most people won't understand it, and if they do, good for them. Give them a cookie or a high five. But if they don't, then you get to walk away feeling very good about yourself and not insulting them too hard, but enough that you feel good. Then the next word is anathema. And anathema means a person or thing loathed or detested. You can also see I love these kinds of words. I like using words that most people wouldn't use to insult them. I also don't insult people very often. I insult people in my head, but I sound very, very smart when I do it. I would never say anything mean to anyone in person. I don't think I have the guts for it. I just, quite frankly, don't see what good can come from it. I think it's awful if you say mean things to people in real life, but I say things in my head and then I keep them to myself. I feel better, they aren't hurt, and everyone's happier all around. Um, be nice. Don't say mean things to people. Don't talk about people. It's rude and awful. You can think about it in your head, but then get over it. It's biblical. Okay, another word, tacenda. Tacenda. It means things that are better left unsaid, which is another very interesting concept to me because I feel like that kind of falls in line with a lot of the words that I've already talked about today, where it's just some things you just don't need to be said. The mean things that you want to say to someone, keep them to yourself. It's not going to benefit anything. All it's going to do is just come back around to bite you, hurt someone's feelings. You don't know what they're going through or what might be affecting them or why they did what they did. And you can never take something back. So I find it's better to not say things that are mean or harsh because it's just the damage that words can do is endless and nothing good comes from that. So just be nice people, which most of you are. So I'm really proud of you guys. Um, another word is tenebris, which means shadowy or obscure, which is a word I really enjoy because I play D&D and there's a lot of fun characters that utilize shadows. So I think it's very fun to utilize when you're playing. well, because I like to role play when I play D&D, and it just adds a special oomph. And I'm about to dungeon master, as said in one of the previous episodes, and it might be something that I get to bring out in this current campaign if they're in a darker or more shadowy area, and bring out the word Tenebris. Just whip it out. I mean, that's fun. And most of the time, people can understand what a word means from context, even if they don't know what the word means implicitly. But it'll be fun to kind of bring out. Another word I like is mythomania, which means someone that has an abnormal tendency to lie and exaggerate. I'm sure we know plenty of mythomaniacs. Each of us individually in our lives, they're all out there. Most of the time, they're insecure people. You don't know what they went through, why they're insecure, why they feel the need to lie, exaggerate, or butt in, but you now know how to correctly identify them. They're mythomaniacs. Another word I like is clandestine. That's a word I like to say, but also it's just so beautiful. I know that I've said that word a lot, but it's so beautiful. It means conducting with secrecy, but I also tend to intertwine that word with the meaning of fate and how something was meant to happen, or a clandestine meeting. It's secret, it's intimate, it is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I love the word celestial, but that's because back to the astronomy thing, I love the moon and stars. I have tons of star jewelry. I'm actually wearing a little star, and it's made out of a blue sandstone, and it looks like stars. I love blue sandstone. I've looked at some of those for rings. I love, love, love blue sandstone, and I really, really like a lot of the cut jewels that look like stars. They have this very special way that they cut them in the back so that when the light hits them from the top, it looks like a starburst from underneath. It makes me think of Elven or Dwarven architecture in Lord of the Rings, and I love that. I think it's so beautiful. Um, Another word that I like is Hooray, which is a homesickness for a home you can't return to or that never was. And I actually found that word in a book. I don't remember which one, but it was one of those words that when you're reading, you come across it and you have no idea what it means. Contextually, you can kind of figure out vaguely, but it was one of those words where you have to stop and look it up. And I have a fondness for that. I love looking up words while I'm reading. It just it brings me this very special innate joy. And it was one of those words that I had to look up was horayeth. And the meaning of it was just so gorgeous to me. I mean, being homesick for something that you can't ever have because it either never existed or it doesn't exist anymore, or there's just some reason that you can't go back to it. It just is a word that perfectly encapsulates a feeling that I think a lot of people have. And I've had it. I think everyone's probably experienced it at some point in their life. And I think it's so gorgeous and it's just beautiful. I love it so much. Um, we'll move on because I could just go on to that for a very long time. One of the next words is excedentitiast. Excend Excendentasiast. Excendentiast. Eccedentesiast. Excendentisiast. Can't pronounce it, but I love it. It means someone who hides pain behind a smile. And it actually makes me think of one of my friends from back when I did a program called Living Education, Kezia, and she sent me this song called Groundhog Day. And that's a very, very good song. But she sent it to me because she said that there was no way that I was as happy as I appeared because I smile a lot. And when I get nervous, I tend to get very bubbly and outgoing. And it's, I guess, a compensatory thing for me. But she sent me this song because she said that there was no way that I was actually that happy all the time. And that she thought I might have been, that I was feeling a lot more than what I let on. And of course, she was right. No one is like that all the time. Um, but that is what that word means. And I find it very beautiful because I think a lot of people do that. It's not just me. And I don't do that as much anymore because it doesn't come off as genuine. It was more of a nervous tick than anything, but it does come off very like I'm trying too hard. And for me, it was just if I pretend to be this outgoing persona, then eventually I'll be that. And I am outgoing, but just not in that way. I'm a little bit more quiet. I love going out. I go to, well, when I say go out, I have a crochet club and I read books and I go and play Magic the Gathering at a place on Monday nights. I have D&D groups and I had an anime group for a while and I do board games a lot with some of my friends and I'm on a couple of volleyball teams. And so I do a lot of things and I go out a lot, but it's not in the way that most people would consider going out. But it just doesn't come off as genuine. And so I say if you're like that and that's something you do, you don't need to. And the right people will be okay with you not being bubbly and outgoing like that all the time. Because also it's exhausting. I'm going to be so honest. It was a lot for everyone involved. But let's move on. This one's a fun word. It's called Nefelibata, and it is a cloud walker or one who lives in the clouds of their dreams. I don't know. It's not in the official dictionary. It's just one of those words that you find on Pinterest, and then you just I added it to my list. I loved it. It was a fun word, a beautiful word. I mean, cloud walker. Once again, to me, that has to do with the stars and celestial nature. But I just thought it was a fun word, Nefelibata. It kind of sounds like there's this one character in Doctor Who on an episode. David Tennant is the doctor, and it's on the Titanic. It's right after Rose, one of his companions, got stuck in a parallel universe, and he's alone and he's searching for a new companion. And is on. He ends up on a space version of the Titanic, and there is a he's very small, like a gnome of some sort. He's probably maybe 3 feet tall, something like that. And his name is like Banakafalata, but it's way longer than that. But and he's just red. And you know those balls that they have at Walmart, and they're the hard ones, but they have the little tiny spikes on it. That's what his skin is. He's a red with like all these little tiny spikes. Anyways, his name is Banakafalata Lakadabada. But to me, Nefelibata makes me think of that. Next word is onism, which is the awareness of how little of the world you will experience. Which it's funnily enough, that was actually a word I ended up finding because I was looking up the definition. I was trying to find if there was a word for that feeling because a lot of times I have that feeling because, and I've gotten to go a lot more places than most people. I've been around to a lot of different places. I've been to a ton of states. I've been out of the country. I have had a privilege of like traveling. But even with all of that traveling, compared to how much of the world and the universe is out there, I am experiencing such a small, insignificant amount of that compared to everything that exists. I am only experiencing this minuscule percent of a percent of the vast universe and world. And sometimes that just hits me like a truck where you sit there and you think about that one photo of the satellite that was way away from Earth, and the last photo it took and sent right before it lost connection with Earth is it turned around and it took a photo of Earth from where it was, and it was a speck. It was a tiny, tiny little speck on this photo. And I think about that photo a lot because I think about this experience. It's so small compared to everything that's out there. And I just find that beautiful. Um, Next word is quiddity, which means the real nature of a thing. It's very essence. I like that. I like the word essence. I like words that include it in their definition. Also, it's a fun word. Quiddity makes me think of Quidditch, Harry Potter. Love that. Another word is ignominy. Ignominy. It means great personal dishonor or humiliation. Humiliation. That was a little humiliating. Um, but think Mulan and Mushu being like dishonor on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow. That is ignominy. Personal dishonor. Something that we see a lot in Mulan. Um, Next word is epicaricacy. This is one of my recent ones that I ended up finding probably 3 months ago. It means to rejoice at or derive pleasure from the misfortune of others. We all know people who are like that. I do not like to be around those type of people. I find them very, very selfish and rude. However, I much like the word to describe them. Epicaricacy. I mean, there's so many people out there who are like that and find pleasure from the misfortune of others. And I think that's quite frankly awful. I think that's, I just think that's awful. However, I like that there's a word for it. The last one that I have on my list is sonder. And sonder is the realization that every stranger is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. It's that feeling that you get when you're a kid and you look out the window and next to you is someone in a car, and all of a sudden you have this realization that they're having their entire life. They are the main character in their own life. You are no one to them. You are a side character. Not even a side character. You're a background character in a movie that never gets interacted with. You'll never see again. And their life is so complex and has so many things going on. And you have no idea. You are nothing to them compared to what's actually going on in their life. You are nothing. And they are living their own life and it has its own problems. They have their own joys and things that they're experiencing in life. And you have no idea what that is. And you never will. That's something you'll never get to experience. But they are experiencing the world just as vividly and as intensely as you are, but in a completely different way. And their life is completely different. Even if you had the exact same family and the exact same choices in life, you would choose something different and something would be different. And I could have a twin who had the exact same life as me, but she would be different. And that gets into a whole thing where I love the idea of parallel universes and multiverse, which I don't necessarily think is true, but I find it a very, very interesting topic. And I love looking into that. And I love the idea of it. I think that's so, so cool and awesome to think about. But this really makes me think about this word sonder is that everyone, including people in my own life, that they are kind of side characters because everyone is the main character of their own life. And thinking about that, if everyone's the main character, everyone else is also a side character and a background character and even a non character. Like, I'm never going to be included, and millions of people's lives, they'll have no idea who I am. They will have no, I don't exist to them, but they have their own life on the other side of the world that is just as complex, if not more so, than mine. and they have thoughts and feelings and families and losses and just it's just so it's just such an amazing thing to think about. And I love thinking about those kinds of things and really digging into them about this idea that there is so much out there. And all of these kind of some of these words that I've talked about that I really truly love the meaning of. Like, I'm never going to experience, I'm only experiencing a small percent of the world. Everyone else is experiencing a small percent of the world. And even everyone on earth, their experience of the world is so tiny compared to what is happening in the wide universe, the entire universe. Our experiences are so small compared to that. And I just find that such an interesting topic and an interesting thing to think about. It's not something that you would, I don't think a lot of people think about that, which is wild to me because I think about it all the time. I think about it when I'm driving to work and I look over and there's someone in the car next to me, or there's a baby, or someone is walking down the road. Like maybe they are walking because they just had, I mean, the worst day of their life, and they're running because that's what you do in your 20s when something goes wrong. Or someone could be, going shopping and they're buying stuff for their wedding, and or for a baby shower for their friends, or just I find it a very interesting topic, and I have reached about the end of how long my recording will allow me to go. But I just wanted to share some of my favorite words because I love words. I love words so much, and I hope that I was able to share that with you to a certain extent, and I hope you maybe can learn to love words as well, and it'll be something that maybe you'll start getting into, and you'll keep a list on your notes app of words that you like. And some of them don't even have to be long words. I mean, I even have the word allure, I have desire, I have lorn. I mean, I have tons of words on this list that are short, or just, I mean, they don't even have a profound meaning, they just exist. And I love that these words exist and that we get to use them. But I hope that I was able to share some of that with you. And next week there will be a guest. It will not just be me. Um, this week it just didn't work out, but I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's not the normal episode, it's not as funny as normal, but it was just something I love talking about, and I love to share with people because most people don't want to hear about your favorite words that you keep on a notes app in your phone. Anyways, I hope you had a good time hearing about some of my favorite words because I had an amazing time talking about it. And next week we will be back to our normal, goofy, guest filled podcast. However, this week is not that type of week. I just wanted to talk about this. I love it so much. And I'm glad I got to share it. I hope you enjoyed it. And maybe think about some of your favorite words. And if you don't have one, start thinking about it and notice some of your favorite words, and maybe start looking for words that you like that other people use. That's one of my favorite things to do is when someone else uses a word that I like, I learn about it, learn how to use it in context, and then I add it into my vocabulary and I try to utilize it and include it because I love words. I love it. And let me know what some of your favorite words are. There is a comment section. Um, Hopefully, you guys have some fun ones. I love words. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with, what you guys put out there. Um, Anyways, open up your dictionary. There's also a dictionary app. You don't have to use the actual dictionary if you don't want to use the book. There's plenty of digital versions. But just think about the words you use. They have such a huge impact on who you're speaking to and to yourself. Your brain takes what you say literally. And if you use words that have a negative meaning a lot, your brain will really start to take that into account. So try and use words that have beautiful and profound meanings because your brain will start to think that way. And being able to think in that way and really sit with some of these vast and huge concepts and just ruminate on them is some of my favorite times. And I hope that you get to experience that as well. Anyways, I'm actually done now. So thank you for joining me on this episode of Two Cups, One Kettle. Um, I hope to see you next week. Hopefully, my wordy ramble did not scare you off. Next week, we'll be back to our normal, scheduled, weird, goofy podcast. But I hope you had as good of a time as me, and I will see you next week.